Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the tutorial series. Okay, so today I'm going to do idle mode and having the AI look at the player while chasing you. So I'm going to do that first. So you open your animation blueprints, make a new variable, call it player location, and you're going to want to make this a vector. Then go to event graph and make a sequence on the beginning part here. Then on the second or first part, you cast to ch_print I just plug object into get player character. Then you're gonna want to do it is valid node, so that if you're just simulating the game, that won't cause any errors to be spammed. Then you're gonna want to drag off as Quentin and get camera. Then set player location on the is valid, the vector, and for camera you get actor get world location since it's not an actor, a component, and plug that into the vector. Now what you're gonna do is drag this to the side and get a look at nodes, but you're gonna want to untick context sensitive so that it can show up, and then here you have a look at nodes. Now you're gonna want to set bound to modify to spine 01, and then you go to target, look at target, should be visible, but by default it's not, so you're gonna want to click here and expose as pin. Then you just plug player location into that. Now you have to tweak some settings here. You're gonna disable in local space and look at clamp, set that to 50. And then you're gonna want to duplicate this node. Just plug that up there again. And set the bone to modify to be head or neck 01, so that'll look just a little better. And changes to be like 35. And then plug the look at node into the output graph. And if you compile this, it should look like this. Then off alpha, you drag. Okay, so you're gonna enable context sensitive again. And do select float. And just plug that into both of these and set the B value to 0.75 or 0.1, it doesn't really matter. I'll do 0.85. You see pick A doesn't have anything tied to it, so what you're going to want to do is promote that to a variable. And so you right click and promote to variable, and you're going to want to call this variable should look at player. If this is false, then this is going to be set to 0. Okay, so you're actually going to want to swap these values, 0.85 and 0. So now if this is true, this will be 0.85, and if it's false, it'll be 0. Now you're gonna go back to the event graph and state this based on if he's chasing you or not. So you're gonna do a sequence and then branch, then plug the branch up to the 0. Or you don't even have to do branch, you can just drag out the AI and do get state. And then get if the state equal to attack. You don't need the sequence either. Then you plug this part up to here. Okay, so let's see how this looks in game. So you may notice that he's looking up at me. To fix that, you drag out of here and do minus, I think minus right there. Minus, and then you put like 50 on the z-axis. So let's just see if that looks any better. Yes. Actually, now I was just looking a bit too far down, so I do like 35. Oh. Okay, yeah, that's good. Now we get to the more difficult parts of the tutorial, which will be idle mode. So you're gonna want to go into the NPC folder and make a new folder. Call that task objects. You're gonna make a new blueprint and call that BP_base task object. Then you're gonna open it. You're gonna add 2 components. Call that AI move to location. And just color that something that you want to remember it as. So like blue. And then add another arrow. We call that AI move to location. And just move these 2 back. Rotate this one to the side to be facing the other direction. Or this direction, it doesn't matter. And then add a static mesh. And that's all you need to set up the base task. So we're gonna start with the sitting in armchair task. So you're gonna right click on it and create a child blueprint class and call that BP_armchair_neighbor. And set the static mesh to be armchair. And just rotate it to be like this, because this is where the AI is going to move to, and then it's going to use this arrow to set its location and rotation. So just move that bit back a bit. And then I'm just going to put this down now on the level. And now we get to making the AI go to the armchair and sit in it. So you're going to go back to the base folder, then into the AI behavior folder, behavior trees, and in subtrees you make a new behavior tree. Call that SBT_idle mode. And you're gonna make another folder for idle tasks. Nope. And just make another behavior tree for now and call that SBT_sit in armchair. Now I'm just gonna set up the variables in the AI that you're gonna need. So you do a new one, enum tasks, and you're gonna wanna go to the enums folder and make a new enum that contains all the idle tasks that the neighbor will be using. So you do e_neighbor tasks. And I'm only going to do 2 tasks in this video to explain the general layout of how this will work. So you use armchair, sit in armchair, and watch TV. So in the idle mode, you're gonna drag off, do a select here, and okay, we're gonna come back to this after I set up everything. So neighbor tasks actually, and do e_tasks for neighbor tasks. Neighbor tasks. Make another variable and call that was busy with task and make that a boolean. So well, that's all the variables you're gonna need. So you're gonna make a new function, call that randomized task neighbor. The task you're gonna do switch on int for integer, you see, and add 2 pins, and selection random int in range, and do like so 0 and 1. So just say minimum to 0 and maximum to 1. So how this works is it calls this code, and then when it does the switch, it calls this node, and it's gonna randomize these 2. So if you want to add a new task, you have to add a pin, and then set this to the amount of pins that there are. So you're gonna do set neighbor task, set in armchair, and then you're gonna click on this node, and then outputs, you add a parameter so that it shows up. Plug that in, and you make this e_neighbor tasks, and just plug that into there, and then you repeat the process for this. And then just set this to be neighbor tasks. Make sure you use this variable and not plugging it directly. So you're actually going to want to put a sequence up here. And then you're going to also want to make a new task. When you make a new task and it has a drop down, just make sure to click BT task new base. So we're gonna call this BT task BTT underscore randomize idle tasks. Just drag this out to the behavior trees folder. And then you're gonna want to open this. And we do the usual cast to ch underscore base NPC. Plug that into control pod. Then you do randomize neighbor task neighbor. But before you do that, actually, you have a branch, and then you drag out as ch base NPC and do get was busy with task. Then if this is false, it does a randomized task. If this is true, then you do a finish execute. Now you're gonna go into your main blackboard and make a new key. And the selected task. And the key type should be neighbor tasks. Now you're gonna... okay, I'm just gonna rename this. I'm gonna go into this and do the usual again. Get AI controller. Actually, I'd make this a variable, the AI. So promote to variable, and just map it state here. And then instead of dragging everything out of this node, you get the variable that you just made, and just plug everything into that. Yeah, make sure this finish executor's tick to be success. Then you get AI controller set get blackboard set value as enum. And just drag this out to here. Key name, make literal name. And get selected task, and make sure you name that exactly to what the actual enum is, and then just do finish execute again. Now in this sequence in your subtree for item mode, you randomize task. Then you get a selector and another sequence. Or you don't even need a sequence. You just run behavior. Then you just add a decorator, a blackboard decorator, and if selected task is equal to sit in armchair, then you run behavior, sit in armchair. We're gonna make a new task and call that btt underscore sit was busy with task. So you open that, do this, just get the NPC again, and then you drag out and do sit was busy with task, and set the target to NPC. Then you promote this to a variable, and with this variable you set this to be the eye icon. Then you do finish execute again, and then you do success. So the reason this has to be the eye icon is so that if you drag out the task, you'll be able to set it without having to make a new task. So you open the subtree for the sitting in armchair now, and you do a sequence. Then you do set was busy with task to be true. So you go here up to default and set that to true. Then you're gonna make a new BT task again, and do that. Call that btt underscore move to task of class. Just organize this. Open this here. Move to task of class. We're just gonna get these two again, and then promote to variable. Then you get all actors of class. And you're gonna want to promote this to a variable and set that variable to be visible. Then the variable, or no, an actor class, you get base task object, or no, base task object. Then what you do is you drag out of here and type in find nearest actor. Then you just drag out of here, get actor location, and pin this into the origin. Then off return value, you cast to base bp_base task object, plug that into here, and then promote it to a variable. Now, in your base AI, you're also going to want to make a variable for it. So you do selected task, and then make sure that that's the type of variable is bp_base task object. And then you get the AI again. And then you set selected task to be this. But you're also going to want to move this code to the side and get a is valid node. Make sure it's the one with the question mark. And just connect this up here. So if it's valid, then it sets all the stuff. But if it's not valid, you get the AI and you set was busy with task to be false. And you just do is not valid, set that to false, and then finish execute. Now back here you get an AI move to and connect a pawn up to the AI variable, and then you get the base task object, and you get AI move to your location, then get world location, get the world location of the AI move to your location, and plug the return value into destination. Then I just drag off here and do finish execute, and plug that into success and fail, and make sure success is ticked. So we can actually test this and drag in move to task of class. Here's how this works. The move to task of class is you click this drop down and you get armchair bp_armchair neighbor. So basically you just get the actor, and as long as it's a child of the base task object, the same code that's here is gonna apply to it. So for the armchair we just have bp armchair neighbor. So we can just test this by simulating the game. Okay. Well, it's just a matter of getting him to... Oh wait, no, I haven't actually made him do the idle behavior yet. You go into BT base and you get another sequence with the blackboard value. You set the state equal to idle, then you earn behavior SBT_idle mode. So now it should work if you select there. he's moving to the blue arrow on the armchair. Now later in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to set his speed based on the state he is in. Now we're gonna make a new task once again. We call that BTT_lerp2task. And once again, you get these two things. Then you get the AI's selected task. Get selected task. Then you get AI lerp 2 location, and then get world transform. And with this, you're gonna split the pin, and off get base NPC do move component to actually, and you just get root components and plug that into components. So for the location, you're gonna plug this into your return value location, and the rotation you plug it into there. Just set that to like 0.3 or 0.2. I'm just gonna keep it at 0.2. Then when it's complete, you do finish execute. So you're also gonna go move this to the side and lerp the task. If you're a little lost on how this works, is a sequence plays the notes in the corresponding order of these little numbers up here. So it's gonna move. It's gonna sit what's within the task, move to the location, and then lerp it, the AI. So let's just see if that works. Oh. C. So what I'm missing is that what I'm doing wrong is okay. I see my mistake. This arrow should be 80 on the Z-axis. It should be 90 because it has to be the Z-axis has to be on the exact same as the AI, so that he doesn't pull up into the floor. Now it's time for the last node we're gonna need for the base idle task, which is BTT_play montage. So you're gonna get this stuff, then play montage, and just drag out here and get mesh. Plug that into there. For montage to play, you promote that to a variable and make sure that it's a public variable. If that's what it's called. Or no, editable instance, not a public variable. And on completed, you just finish execute and off into output 2. And I just want to make sure. Okay, I did say that's true. I'm gonna increase this value a bit actually. Okay, so now we go back to our sitting in armchair task and play montage. So now we're gonna quickly get the neighbors sitting in the armchair montage. So you're actually gonna wanna create a montage on his sitting down animation, and AM_sitting in armchair. You're gonna see the animations here. I'm once again just gonna speed it up to 1.25. And sitting in armchair. And then I get the cycle, and you just drag that into the montage. And Yeah. Then it's just gonna automatically make these two work with each other. And then play montage, sitting in armchair. And then after all this is done, you get this task again. And you set was busy with task to false this time, so that the code allows him to randomize the tasks again. And this is the basic logic for the task. You set what's busy with task to 2, you make him move to the location, then you make him lerp to the location, or you make him move to the task active class. Then you make him lerp to it. Then you make him play the montage, and then when the montage is done, it's gonna set the was busy with task to false. One thing to note is just make sure to go in here and set the z-axis of the arrow in the armchair to be 92. Now it's gonna look alright. There you go. Okay. Now we're gonna set the speed based on the state before I do another task. So set speed based on state. And you're just gonna get the music updater and do a pretty similar code to this. And then you're gonna drag out character movement and just set max walk speed. So idle is always gonna be 200. Hunt mode will always be like 450, I believe. Attack mode, it should be 500, I believe. Actually, hunt speed should be 400 to be a little more balanced with the current values. Now, if you want to make these variables customizable, you can promote these all two variables. I'll just name them idle speed, hunt speed, attack speed, and just make all of these visible. So when you select the AI, you can see it like in here. And now that's about all we need for the speed system. These two don't really need to be connected up to anything, since the AI won't really be moving in them. So we're gonna go back to event graph and just put this on the constant tick as well. Set speed based on state. So now it's gonna be, you should be walking now. Yep. Oh, and his animation is a little slow, so let's just go into his blank space. Fix that. Just right click on the animation and click on the magnifying glass to locate it. Yes, the animation is too slow, so just set that to the rate scale to 1.25, and now it should look good. It's a little slow for some reason. Maybe set it to 1.3. Yes, 1.3 works. So now we're gonna do another task before wrapping up the video, which will be watching TV. Since for that I want to just teach you how to make the AI interact with objects. We're gonna create another child blueprint, call that BP_sofa, and you're gonna do what you did with the armchair basically. We'll just take this to be sofa, and rotate that to match the AI locations. But for the sofa, you're gonna want to rotate the arrow to be facing this way, I believe. Yeah, so like with the armchair, just rotate the sofa in the opposite the arrow in the opposite direction of the sofa. you're also gonna make another child. We're going to call that BP_TV. And just set the static mesh to be the TV. Now what you're going to want to do for the TV actually is set its Z location to be 90. So that it doesn't mess up any of the systems. And you're gonna drag in the TV and the sofa. And set that should be facing the TV, of course. Now we're gonna start by making the TV actually be interactable. So we may add an audio component and just state that audio component should not auto activate. TV report. So to create a sound cue, drag that in. Make sure to set it to be. Make sure to set that to like metal. Make sure that it's set to be looping. And that's all I'm actually going to do for TV interaction, since that doesn't technically fall under AI. So you can just do that yourself, like making the screen change colors, the button, and stuff. I'm just going to call this a portage. And I'm just going to make a new custom event. Call that TV on. And drag out a portage and set that to activate. Then we're going to make another custom event and call that TV off. And drag this out, set this to deactivate now. Okay, so that's the base for the TV done. Now it's time for the actual task itself. So characters, no, blueprints, NPC. Now we make a new subtree, okay? We call that SVT_watching TV. Now, actually making this task won't be as difficult since we already have the base nodes need. So I'm just going to copy these two and the sequence. Go to watching TV and just plug that in here. Now, what I'm going to do is set the class here to be BP_TV. Remember, you have to be absolutely sure to have the task object be a child blueprint of the base task object, or else it just won't work. So we're gonna have to make another task, BTT_use TV. Opening it, you're just gonna once again use these two nodes. And you're also gonna play montage, so I'm just gonna do that again. Mesh. Play montage. Mesh. Now I'm also gonna go into the AI and make, once again, I'm just going to duplicate this variable so I don't have to set the category again. I call that interaction animation. And you're also just going to want to set the base animation for that to be I'm just gonna set this montage to be neighbor shower start, since that's the closest thing to interacting animation that's in this project at least. So AM_interaction. AM_E. No, we won't just make the montage. We're gonna go to about here and add a montage notify. Now you'll see the purpose of the montage notify soon when we get the TV task up again. So we're just gonna get interaction animation and drag that into here and make a new variable and call that on. So this is just going to determine whether you should turn the TV on or off, since we're going to use this task. So on notify begin, which is when this part of this node gets called in the code. You're just going to want to drag off of that and do a branch. And if it's on, then you get selected task, cast to BP_TV, and you're gonna want to do that here too. So if on is true, you do TV on, and if it's false, you do TV off. So yeah, now what you're gonna do is on completed, just finish execute and success. Then go to the sub ET watching TV and use TV. Now you're gonna actually wanna, I forgot, set this variable to be editable, I don't know, and then set this to true. Then you just play you don't have to play montage again since it does the montage in here. Then you're gonna move to task again, BP_sofa. You're gonna drag out lerp, yeah, that's what I forgot. You're gonna make him lerp towards the TV. And play montage. Now I'm just gonna use the sofa and the armchair animation, since neighbor doesn't have a proper animation for sitting and watching TV. So play montage. Sitting in armchair. And then after that's done, you're gonna do this code again. So I'm just gonna copy and paste it. And then you connect it up to the sequence. But this time you're gonna set on to be false. And then you just do the last step, which is set was busy with task to be false. Now in your sub BT idle mode, you just did this again. You're on behavior with a blackboard, but this time the blackboard should be set to watch TV. Do a selector and make sure that the behavior that you're on is watch TV. And now it should work. So I'm just gonna make sure. Look at that! And the TV's off. And now he's gonna go do another task. There's actually one more system I want to cover. And that's if you want him to not be able to do the same task twice. So you go into randomized neighbor. Just make some room here. Then you promote this to a variable. So selected task int. And then you're gonna do a branch here. And now you're gonna make another int variable. Integer. I'm gonna call that last selected task. Now you just get this. And is equal to this. So if the task that he just chose is equal to the last task that he did, actually I should swap these two. If it's not equal, then you just set the selection here to be this. The integer is not got here. So if it's false, then it does this. But if it's true, you're gonna select the return node, add another variable, we call that success, and make it a boolean, and just duplicate this. And just say this again, with select the task, but make this false. This success should be true, this one should be false. So if this is true, then it's gonna go up here. Set that to false. Now you're gonna want to go into the subtree, the task for randomizing idle node. Then after it does this code, let me just move this up. You're gonna do a branch, get the AI, or not even AI, just get success. If this is false, then you add a delay. Of like 0.01. And just make it do this task again. But if it's true, then you make it state this enum. So I just want to test if this works real quick, so I'm just gonna play and do slow-mo 20. Okay, so there is a problem already, and that is that I forgot to set the last task. So I'll get back to the randomized task title. If that's true, you set last selected task to be selected task int. And I was never gonna repeat the same task twice, as you can see. In base NPC of Vanguard, you're gonna make a do once node. We'll call that stop movement immediately. So what this does is it cancels out any move to task that's already happening. And what else you're going to want to do is stop montage, stop any montage, and just get current montage. And you're going to just want to make it so that this resets this do once node. In this move to actual class, When you do the on fail, you have to do a branch. And if this and then get the AI, and then you get state. And if the state is equal to attack, this should be on false. If it's true, then it's just not gonna finish execute this. In the base behavior tree, you're gonna make sure both of the blackboards here have observer boards set to self so that they can constantly or dynamically update in game. There we go! If you're interested in this base template, I'll put it in the description. It's made by my good friend Jack the Frog. And if you want to watch the first part of this, there will be a card at the top of the video that'll take you to it. And yeah, that's about it for today's video. I'll get the third part of this series out for the hunt mode as soon as possible. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.